Hi, I'm Willie. Welcome to my channel. Thank you for being here. I appreciate each and every one of you. And if you've seen the hype over at Ubiquiti over the last few days, you will know that the UniFi Cloud Gateway Ultra has been released. And so thanks to Ubiquiti for sending this over. Let's take a look at what we get in the box. So I do like that they're moving to a packaging that seems to be much more eco-friendly. We don't have a lot of extras. They're probably still fine-tuning that. So take that off. Box opens like this, so we don't have that outer shell. And then inside the box is the gateway itself, which we'll take a look at here. Separator. Probably a link to the quick start guide, some documentation there. Power adapter. Ethernet cable, which is one of the flex boot Ethernet cables. And then in the bottom of this are the feet. I don't know if you can see that or not, but little feet on that. So they're you cannot. That's it. That's all that's in the box. So you cannot, or at least at this point, Ubiquiti does not have a wall mount for this. That's why they send the feet. So let's take a look at the unit itself, and then we'll hop into the specs. All right, so what I've got here is I've got one of the Expresses next to it, so you can see. And you can see it's got the same size LED screen, LCD screen there on the front, whatever they're calling those, LCMs. It's also approximately the same thickness as the Express, but we're going to see that it's got some key hardware differences. So there's the bottom of it, smooth. Right now, like I said, it doesn't come with a wall mounting option. Doesn't mean that they're not going to have it in the future. Then on the back, we've got our power. We've got a WAN port that is 2.5 gig. And then you've got 4 1 gigabits, and you've got a reset button over there. So this is, all 4 of these ports back here do share 1 gig. So for those of you who might be already in the comments saying, well, you can't do 2.5 gig, this will do 1 gig with IDS IPS. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at the specs on this real quick, and then we'll get it fired up, and we will set it up. All right, so here we are over at the spec guide, and you can see it's got a quad core processor at 1.5 gigahertz, which is faster than the Express CPU. It's also got 3 gigs of DDR4, 16 gigs of onboard storage, can be managed with Bluetooth or Ethernet. It does have the 4 1 gig ports and the 1/2.5 gig port. IDS IPS throughput is 1 gig. Power method is USB Type C. Does not have, let's talk about that. This does not have an access point built in. So what does it have? It has your Ethernet ports, and it has the controller, right? So this does run UniFi network application. It is standalone. And according to Ubiquiti, we want to manage about 30 devices and about 300 clients is about the top end of this. And it comes in at an amazing $129. Now, will that go up in the future? I don't know. But for this device, it seems to be a pretty good price. So the other thing to know is it cannot run Protect, it cannot run Talk, it cannot run Access. It runs network application only. So you could use an Express as an access point and pair it with this. Then you've got these 2 devices that look very similar, very aesthetically pleasing. But $129 USD for this. I don't know if you're just getting into the ecosystem. This is definitely is worth some considerations. So let me get everything plugged in, and we'll be right back, and we'll do setup. All right, so I have my WAN and LAN plugged in, and I'm going to plug in the power, and we'll see if this thing boots up for us. There it goes. LCM comes alive, so it is going to boot up, and as soon as we are booted, we will get this setup complete. All right, so the Cloud Gateway Ultra is booted, and you can see that we're on a setup screen there on the LCM, and it automatically opened this window that you're seeing here. And so we're going to go ahead and name this. It's always good to name your device as something meaningful. I have access to hundreds of people's devices, and a lot of them are just named default. You know, we got to change that at some point. So I'm going to name this WH Lab UCG Ultra. Now, it wants me to go ahead and sign in with a UI account so I can manage this. And I'm a fan of this because it enables multi-factor authentication, which, by the way, is going to be mandatory for Ubiquiti accounts here in the very near future. But what I'm going to do, you could proceed without a UI account, then you have to just manage it locally. You can't invite people easily to work on your devices. So I bind it to the cloud, especially so I can get that MFA. So I'm going to go ahead and get logged into my UI account. The next thing it'll want to do is it'll want to restore from a backup. We're going to skip that. So I'm going to get signed in, and we'll be right back. All right, so we got past that. You can see we are now doing upload and download tests, and so I'll show you what that looks like when it's done. All right, once you get past the speed test, which you can skip, then it says setting up our UniFi OS. It's going to configure the console. It says it has about a minute left. In theory, this is going to be on, the newest firmware. On the LCM there, we've got a little setup complete. Sorry, the camera didn't want to focus there. Now, we can go to the dashboard, or we can manage from unifi.ui.com. Let's just head on over to the dashboard. Okay, and so what it's doing right now, you can see that it's updating, and UniFi Ubiquiti has made some changes so that we, on some of these new installations, we get the latest version of the firmware. And so I'm going to let this thing update. Once it's fully updated, we'll come back and take a look. All right, so that update did take, it took about 5 minutes. And you can see we're up to date on the network version, which is 8.0.28 is what they're showing as the latest here. And then the actual UniFi OS is 3.2.12. So let's take a look here, what we've got going on. We can. All right, so we've got the same console that we're used to. This nice picture of the device here. Right now you can see how much activity we have. We can go ahead and run a speed test. And so I have gigabit internet. That's subjective, right? So, but this is also double natted. And so 615 down, 50 megs up, we'll turn on IDS, IPS, and I don't suspect that will change too much. So everything that it's got here, you're used to seeing. And what I do like is that these devices do take the time to actually update. Let me refresh this just to make sure there's not another update. Doesn't look like it. So we're good there. So we don't have any access points, but we can pre-configure. And when we plug an AP in, it will go ahead and adopt it and push those settings to it. We've got our default network, which also, depending on if you plug this device in and you've got a 192.168 network and you plug the WAN in, it's going to recognize that and it's going to configure something else for the LAN, which is really nice. A lot of the vendors have moved to that, and it's absolutely fantastic. So here we've got our internet, and you can see right now we're on port 5. Now we can add a secondary WAN to this. So we can make port 4 WAN 2, and then you can also have the UniFi LTE backup on here. So you can actually have a total of 3 WAN connections on this device. We can do automatic speed test. We get all of the VPN options that we get in all of the other consoles. So we can even do site magic with this. All right, so that's fantastic. This thing is a full featured gateway. So what we're going to do real quick is we're going to go ahead and we're going to turn on some country restrictions, and we are going to select China and Russia, and we're going to turn suspicious activity, notify, and block. We're going to turn it on high. We're going to go ahead and apply those changes. So now IDS, IPS, which is what suspicious activity is on full. So as soon as that finishes configuring the gateway, we'll run another speed test. Here's our routing. So this is the latest general release, that 8.0.28. All right, let's see. Doesn't look like this thing is still configuring. So let's go ahead and run our speed test now. And you saw what it was at 615 before with the IDS, IPS disabled. Got much higher upload speeds for some reason. We'll run a couple of these because at peak demand, I've seen our internet go down to like 300 megs. So we'll test again. And we'll adjust the speed too, the expected speed. The problem is the internet that I'm on is shared, right? It's cable, so it's not dedicated out to my provider. So we could be seeing some issues from peak times. I'm going to adjust my ISP speed and see if that does anything. So we'll do a gig down and we'll do 75 up. We'll apply those changes. You can see that the device is getting ready. We'll go back here and we'll go ahead and run our speed test again. We're over 600. So I'm going to say that my ISP also is probably experiencing some peak times. But let me go ahead and turn off IDS, IPS, and we'll run that test again. We'll turn it off. We'll turn off the country restrictions, and we'll turn off suspicious activity. Wait for this to get ready. Looks like we're ready. We'll go back. We'll run another speed test. See what we get now. See, even with IDS, IPS turned off, we're in that same neighborhood. So we'll see what happens. So we're in that same neighborhood. I'll run another one real quick without it, but we'll see exactly what happens. I'll have to see if I can find a time when I can get most of my gig down. So that's kind of where it's at. But I think that this device, I think it's priced right. I think that it can get a lot of people into the ecosystem. And I think that this is going to be definitely a mainstay in the lab here and with our configuration videos. If you've got any questions about this, let me know. I'll do a comparison video against the Express and the UDR and all that, and maybe we'll run some side-by-side speed tests. But let me know what you think about this. I think it's fantastic. I'll put an affiliate link down in the comments if you want to pick one up. Yeah, let me know where you're going. The price is very interesting. $129 for this. I mean, if you don't need edge router features, you know, this is a perfect edge router X. And we know that dynamic routing is coming. So what else are you going to use your edge router for? Maybe high availability or something like that. But if you're running an edge router X, this might be the perfect replacement. So let me know what you think about this down in the comments. And if you like these devices and this content, give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe, comment, share. Follow me on Twitter and TikTok. Those links are down below, along with an affiliate link, a Patreon link. And if you need IT consulting, you need your network tuned up, whether it's wired or wireless, the security, storage, voice over IP, head on over to williehowe.com. Fill out that contact form that's on the front page, and someone will be in touch with you as soon as possible. Once again, I'm Willie. I want to thank you for being here. And as always, I'll see you in the next video.